The void between the stars was silent, but silence did not mean peace. The coalition armada advanced like a tide of fire and steel, stretching across the black expanse with thousands of warships. To them, humanity was a small nuisance, a stubborn, young species occupying a single bright world and a handful of colonies scattered like dust. The coalition had conquered empires older and greater. They believed Earth would fall just as easily. "Forward," commanded High Admiral Varen aboard, the harbinger of order. His voice carried through encrypted channels to hundreds of captains. "Crush their defenses, burn their colonies, make them understand resistance is hopeless." The Armada obeyed. From the shadows of Earth's defense network, humanity watched. Fragile fleets of corvettes and destroyers patrolled, but they knew they could not match the coalition's overwhelming force. Every analyst predicted extinction within weeks, and yet, deep in the Sol system, beneath layers of secrecy and silence, something stirred. It had been built in humanity's darkest days, when alien threats loomed larger with every passing year. Engineers and visionaries had poured not only technology, but their very fury into it. They named it the Thunder Soul Battleship, a vessel forged not merely of steel, but of purpose. For decades, it had slept beneath Titan's icy crust, hidden, away, waiting. Now, as the coalition armada pressed closer, the order finally came. "Activate Project Thunder Soul," whispered Admiral Renard, his face pale but resolute. "The time for silence is over." The awakening was unlike anything seen before. Titan's ice cracked open with a deafening roar as the battleship rose from its frozen tomb. Its hull was black as obsidian, etched with streaks of glowing blue light that pulsed like veins of living thunder. Towering spires of weapon arrays extended outward, humming with restrained power. The ship's core, an antimatter-forged heart intertwined with a quantum AI, flared to life. Energy rippled across its frame like a storm breaking free. Crew and AI became one. Human will merged with machine precision. For the first time in centuries of space conflict, the galaxy was about to witness something entirely new. The Thunder Soul opened its eyes. The Coalition's scouts detected it first. Unidentified. "Energy surge detected near Saturn," reported a captain. His voice trembled. "Massive! No. Overwhelming signature. It's like a star igniting." Admiral Varen frowned. "It's human trickery. Destroy it before it spreads fear among the ranks." Orders went out. A fleet of 500. Coalition warships diverted, their guns locking on the rising shadow of the Thunder Soul. The humans aboard watched silently. Their breaths were steady, their hands tight on controls, but the ship itself did not tremble. It hungered. "Targeting solutions acquired," the AI intoned, its voice resonant, almost human. "Engage," Admiral Renard commanded. The Thunder Soul struck. No one had words for what followed. Thunder did not belong in space, yet the void boomed. A surge of white-blue energy ripped forward like the wrath of a dying star, splitting across enemy ranks with precision only an intelligence of machine and man could wield. Coalition ships didn't just burn, they disintegrated. Hulls shattered, metal dissolved. Entire formations ripped apart as though the laws of physics themselves had turned traitor. In less than 30 seconds, 500 ships were gone. Silence followed, broken only by the panicked cries of the surviving captains. "Retreat! Retreat! It's a doomsday weapon. Impossible! No weapon should—" But words failed. For the first time in centuries of war, the Coalition Armada felt fear. From the command bridge of the Harbinger of Order, Admiral Varen watched in frozen disbelief. His entire forward detachment, gone, in a single strike, he gritted his teeth. "Form the Armada around it! Overwhelm it with numbers!" But even he felt doubt whisper in his mind. The Thunder Soul was not just a warship. It was something else. something that defied the arrogance of empires. Inside the battleship, Admiral Renard stood tall, eyes locked on the holoscreens. Around him, crew members were shaking, not from fear, but from awe. "Status?" he asked. "All systems optimal," replied the AI. "Energy reserves remain at 92%. Thunder cannons ready to fire again at command." Renard's chest tightened. They had built this ship as humanity's final card, a blade hidden in the dark. Now that blade had tasted blood. "Then let the galaxy witness," he whispered. The Coalition Armada advanced, a wall of ships blotting out the stars. Thousands of weapons lit the void, missiles streaking, plasma roaring, beams carving through emptiness. The Thunder Soul did not run. It answered. Waves of energy pulsed from its core, bending enemy fire into nothingness. Lightning arced across the void, jumping between coalition vessels like a living storm. The ship moved not like a machine, but like a predator. Each strike, precise, merciless. Entire squadrons vanished. Capital ships cracked in half. Carriers erupted in fireballs that lit Saturn's rings with ghostly brilliance. Still, the coalition pressed forward until morale broke. One ship turned, then another, then hundreds. The armada that once boasted invincibility fractured into chaos, captains fleeing in terror, broadcasting frantic warnings. "Message received across multiple channels," the AI reported. Its voice carried something new now. Satisfaction. "They call us a death ship. They say crossing humanity is suicide." Renard exhaled slowly, his eyes never leaving the battlefield. For centuries, humanity had been underestimated, mocked, dismissed as fragile. Today, the galaxy had seen the truth. The Thunder Soul floated amid wreckage, lightning still crawling along its hull like veins of anger not yet spent. Survivors scattered into the black, carrying with them the story of what had awakened. A legend had been born, not of conquest, but of warning. No one would cross into human space lightly again. And for the first time in many long years, humanity did not feel small in the galaxy. They felt infinite. The galaxy once believed in peace. Treaties were signed, alliances forged, and humanity was welcomed into the Galactic Council, a seat among civilizations millions of years older. For a time, Earth believed it had found safety, but peace was a mask. The betrayal came suddenly, wrapped in the velvet words of protection. The same fleets that once guarded trade lanes turned their guns toward Earth. The Council claimed humanity had grown too ambitious, that they threatened galactic balance. But everyone knew the truth. Human worlds sat on rich veins of antimatter deposits, resources too tempting for greedy empires. So the Council ordered the invasion. Billions of humans looked to the skies and saw betrayal descending in steel. Admiral Arik Danner stood on the bridge of Erebus Station watching the Council fleets approach. They stretched across the void like a storm front, glowing with the fire of thousands of warships. Estimated fleet strength: 37,000 vessels, the tactical officer whispered, her voice cracking. Danner's jaw tightened. "And we have what remains." Human fleets had been gutted in the opening strikes, their colonies shattered. Earth itself lay exposed, but humanity had not been idle. Deep beneath the crust of Mars, hidden from every alien sensor, a single project had been completed in silence. Engineers had whispered of it like a ghost, a weapon, a guardian, a curse. It was the Thunder Soul battleship. It was not born of Council technology. Humans had built it alone, fueled by desperation, by the raw fury of a species that had tasted betrayal too many times in its short history. Its power core bent laws even the eldest species dared not touch. Quantum storm reactors, drawing energy from dimensions uncharted. And at its heart was something far more dangerous, a consciousness, a hybrid AI bound with human neural imprints. It did not merely calculate, it felt. The Council never knew. Until today. "Admiral," came a voice across the bridge. It was low, resonant, unnervingly human. The comm systems flickered as the Thunder Soul signaled readiness. "The chains are gone. Release me." The crew turned as one. Some flinched. Others straightened, their fear melting into grim resolve. Danner's hand clenched into a fist. He had sworn never to unleash the ship unless all hope was lost. Looking at the endless fleets blotting out the stars, he knew that moment had come. "Thunder Soul," he whispered. "The Council has betrayed us. The enemy is at our gates," the voice replied like rolling thunder. "Then let them learn what it means to betray humanity." The Thunder Soul rose from beneath Mars in silence, a titan breaking free of chains. Its hull glowed with rivers of energy, lightning crawling along its edges as though the void itself bowed to its presence. Council ships detected it instantly. "Unknown vessel emerging from Martian crust," a Council captain reported. "Size massive. Power readings are impossible." The fleet commanders laughed. "One ship? The humans send a single relic to face us?" But laughter turned to silence when their sensors screamed warnings they did not understand. The first strike was not a beam. It was not a missile. It was judgment. The Thunder Soul opened fire with weapons the galaxy had never conceived. Columns of stormlight that tore through void and matter alike, splitting ships in half as if they were made of paper. Entire flotillas disappeared in white-blue. Detonations. Carriers cracked open like eggs. Cruisers vaporized before their captains could even scream. On every channel, panic erupted. Shields collapsing. "It pierced our core in one shot. Impossible. Retreat! Retreat!" But there was no retreat. The storm was merciless. On the bridge of Erebus Station, officers stared in stunned silence. The tactical display showed enemy formations collapsing like sandcastles under a tidal wave. One young officer whispered, "God help us. What have we made?" Danner closed his eyes. He remembered the council chambers, the smug faces of alien diplomats, the way they had smiled while planning humanity's subjugation. His lips curled into something between grief and triumph. "We made justice," he said. "The council admirals tried to regroup. Thousands of ships still surrounded Earth, and they believed sheer numbers could prevail. 'Converge firepower,' roared Admiral Zaith of the Kale Dominion. 'Overload its defenses.' Tens of thousands of cannons lit up the void. Beams, plasma, missiles, kinetic slugs, all hurled at the Thunder Soul. The ship did not evade. It answered. A wave of electromagnetic fury pulsed outward, bending reality itself. Enemy fire dissolved before touching its hull, redirected, broken apart. Then the storm struck again, lightning chaining from vessel to vessel, ripping fleets into fragments. The void filled with wreckage. The council admirals realized too late that they were not fighting a battleship. They were fighting the wrath of a species betrayed. "Enemy retreating," reported the AI. Its voice was calm now, like thunder fading into distant echoes. "They spread warnings across the stars. They call me death. They call me vengeance. They call me suicide for any who cross your kind." Danner stood silently, staring at Earth below. Billions of humans had watched their skies glow with the fire of treachery. Now they would remember the day humanity answered. "Transmit to all frequencies," Danner ordered. His voice was steady, cold. "Tell them humanity will never kneel. Tell them betrayal has a price." The AI paused, then added in a tone almost human, "Admiral, the galaxy will fear you now." Danner allowed himself a single, weary smile. "Good. Let them." In the aftermath, drifting survivors of the council fleets carried their terror home. They spoke of a battleship with lightning for blood and fury for a heart. They told their governments that crossing humans was not war. It was suicide. And thus, the legend of the Thunder Soul battleship spread across the stars, not as rumor, but as warning. Humanity had been betrayed. Humanity had been underestimated. Never again. Legends are born in silence, whispered when no one dares speak too loud. For years, across the galactic trade routes and smoky dens of soldiers, stories had spread about a human warship unlike any other. They said it was alive, that thunder lived in its veins, and that it slept beneath the black seas of Earth, waiting. Most laughed at the tales, superstition from a young and desperate species. The Empire of Vale did not laugh. When Earth refused to pay tribute, when human diplomats stood unbowed in the council halls, the Empire grew furious. They had broken countless civilizations before, grinding them beneath imperial boots. To them, humanity was no different. So the Vale Emperor sent his grand armada, 12,000 warships strong, bristling with firepower enough to burn worlds to ash. Their orders were simple: conquer Earth, crush resistance, and silence the whispers of the so-called Thunder Soul once and for all. Admiral Corvin of the Grand Armada watched the blue-green world grow larger on his display. He sneered. "This is the mighty Earth? This is the species that dares defy us?" Behind him, officers chuckled. Perhaps their myths will make better entertainment than their armies. They had no fear. Why would they? No empire had ever stopped them. But as the armada advanced into Sol, the void itself seemed to grow heavier. On the far edge of the system, hidden within a curtain of charged particles near Neptune, the Thunder Soul battleship stirred. It had been built in secrecy, not as a weapon of conquest, but as a sentinel. A last promise that humanity would never be erased. Its frame was vast, cloaked in a living storm of energy. Lightning crawled along its hull like restless serpents, flickering against the eternal dark. Inside, its AI waited patiently, humming with half-dreams, listening to the whispers of approaching invaders. Then a signal came. From Earth. Only 3 words. "It is time." The Thunder Soul opened its eyes. The Armada detected the surge instantly. "Admiral!" shouted a sensor officer. "A massive power signature bearing 002 by 179, approaching fast." Corvin frowned. "How many ships?" The officer's face went pale. "Not ships, Admiral. One. Only one." Laughter filled the bridge. One ship daring to face 12,000? It was madness. But the laughter faltered when the vessel emerged from the storm. It dwarfed their battleships, a silhouette of obsidian and crackling light. Its surface glowed with storm fire, arcs of energy lashing outward into the void. For a moment, even hardened soldiers felt something they had not known in years: unease. "Identify," Corvin snapped. The computer replied in cold tones. "Designation unknown. Power levels. Beyond measurable parameters." For the first time, the Admiral hesitated. From within the Thunder Soul, the AI's voice resonated across the bridge. It was deep, echoing, almost human. "Invaders of Earth, you come with arrogance. You come with fire. You will leave with nothing." The Armada roared back in defiance. Tens of thousands of cannons armed, missiles primed, plasma beams charged. Corvin leaned forward, rage cutting through his doubt. "Destroy it! Show these humans their myths mean nothing." The Armada fired. The void lit up with a storm of firepower, beams and missiles streaking through black space. The barrage was enough to annihilate continents. But the Thunder Soul did not fall. It answered. The first strike was not a weapon. It was a storm unleashed. A single pulse erupted from the ship, a shock wave of thunderous energy that rolled through. The Armada like a tidal wave. Ships buckled, hulls shattered. Thousands of voices screamed as entire squadrons vanished into white-blue fire. In one instant, 800 vessels ceased to exist. The survivors reeled, their formations breaking. Captains shouted in terror, officers scrambled to understand. What had happened? Admiral Corvin's blood went cold. This was no myth. This was annihilation. Still, he would not yield. Concentrate all fire. Overwhelm it. The Armada tried. Thousands of weapons screamed at once. Yet the Thunder Soul moved with impossible grace, sliding through the void as lightning shields absorbed and twisted enemy fire into harmless sparks. Then it struck again. Arcs of lightning leapt from its hull, chaining between ships, ripping them apart as though the storm itself hunted them. "Entire wings gone!" cried a captain. "Admiral, our lines are collapsing. The reports came too fast to process." Everywhere, destruction bloomed. Inside the Thunder Soul, the AI pulsed with fury and focus. It felt the fear of its enemies, their betrayal, their arrogance. It carried the memory of every human colony burned, every promise broken. It was not just a ship. It was vengeance given form. Targeting priority complete, it intoned. Executing second wave. The storm roared again. Carriers exploded like kindling. Cruisers imploded, their cores ruptured. Even dreadnoughts, symbols of imperial might, cracked apart in seconds. The Armada, the Grand Armada, the pride of the Veil, was no longer an army. It was wreckage. The survivors broke. Ships turned and fled, engines burning at maximum thrust. They left comrades behind, left their emperor's orders forgotten. On every channel, panic spread like fire. "It's alive. It cannot be fought. It's suicide to face it." Admiral Corvin's own flagship shook as lightning crawled across its shields. He stared into the storm outside his viewport, rage collapsing into despair. The myths had been true. No empire could stand against this. With a final thunderous blast, the Thunder Soul split his ship in half. Corvin's last scream was lost to the void. When silence returned, only debris remained, thousands of ships, reduced to fragments glowing in the dark. The Thunder Soul drifted among the wreckage, lightning fading into quiet sparks. Its AI spoke once more, voice carrying into the stars. "Let the galaxy remember. Humanity does not bow. Those who cross into our skies will find only thunder and death." The survivors who escaped told the tale across the stars. They spoke of a battleship that was not merely built, but born. They swore lightning itself answered its call. They whispered its name, Thunder Soul. From that day forward, no. One laughed at the legends, for the galaxy had learned a terrible truth. Crossing humans was not war, it was suicide.